Traditional strategies, they don't work anymore.
AI is making decisions faster than we can understand them.
Everyone's selling answers. Nobody has the truth.
Disruption isn't coming. It's already here.
Who's willing to cut through the bullshit?
Outwired.
Episode of Outwired. My name is Brian Serra with Insider Perks Modern Campground, and I guess I'm with Outwired too. So
Yep.
we're here with Scott Barr, who's also here with Outwired and Karen Consulting and KOA Research Reports, and I don't know, everything else that you do. Scott, do all the things. Welcome to another episode of Outwired. We're going back to our roots today, right? Which feels really good. Like, we've been talking about a little bit about the things that we needed to talk about the last few weeks. Talking about the Iran war and gas prices and the macroeconomic changes and the things that may impact the camping season. And I think now what generally I've decided, and maybe you agree with me, Scott, is we're just kind of in this wait and see approach of like, I don't know what's going to happen. Could be good, could be bad, could be somewhere in the middle, probably is the outcome. But nobody really knows because we've got this shortened booking window and we've got all this uncertainty and we're just going to have to wait and see. So we're just going to not talk about that anymore. And just wait and see. And then what's surprised? We'll just all learn it together, right? Because I don't know if there's any other way that we can really like get a grasp or handle on it with the data that we have. And we have a lot of data. Would you generally agree with that, Scott? Like, we're just gonna have to wait and see?
Yep.
Right.
I think for us right now, what we're looking at is I remember years ago I did research with like biostatisticians and people who worked in cancer research. And I remember one of the people told me that the problem wasn't having that they needed more data. The problem was they needed more analysts to analyze the data. So I think what we're looking at right now is we're getting tons of data and we're just the guys to analyze it. So but no,
we have AI now. We should have the answers.
We're going to have the answers. We are.
Okay.
No, and I say that just as a way of framing it that, we have the expertise to analyze this stuff. We now have access to vast amounts of data, and now's the time to use it, implement it, and to use it as a cudgel. No, to use it for the industry to improve and to get everyone better at what they do.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna put a lot of more data into the palms of people's hands. It's gonna be a really exciting time. So, but yeah, so let's move on from that for now, and we'll come back to it in a few weeks here, and we have maybe some more stuff to report or new things to say, or something changes in the world that impacts campground owners from that side of the coin. And we want to kind of go back to the some of our roots of just making people irritated with some of the things we talk about, right? Not necessarily intentionally irritating people, but bringing conversations to the forefront that aren't always popular, aren't always the opinion that people want to hear, think they're hearing, have a viewpoint of, understand, comprehend, have ever talked about, dreamed about, whatever, right? And if that makes some people uncomfortable, it does. If that makes some people irritated, it does. What we often talk about doesn't mean that this is always the way we see the world, but just here's a different perspective. Here's something new that's happening that you might not be aware of. Maybe people don't want to talk about this necessarily, but it should be talked about, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, that's really what our the goal was when we first started this. When you first had this idea, is to do that, to challenge some of the standard thinking a little bit, and maybe make people a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think we do a good job of that, but I think like Well, I think we do a good job of that, but like we could come up with some more topics probably to talk about than just like last week we did the moto thing. Not that make people uncomfortable, right? But just different ways of thinking, and just getting back to our roots of using AI to discover some topics about like how we came up with Gen Z and the thinking around there. So today we're going to talk about two things. We're going to jump into the what's on your desk in a second, Scott. But today we're going to talk about two main things. In addition to AI news, if we get to that in the back end, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Chinese RVs and motorhomes. So what does that industry look like? Who does it serve? Who's buying Chinese RVs? Why are they not here? Do we want them here? Do we not want them here? And we're going to look at some really cool videos of Chinese RVs and some of the things that they're capable of doing that might be interesting to you if you've only ever been exposed to the American RV market. Are they better? Are they worse? That's for you to decide. We'll give you our opinion. Doesn't mean we're right. We also don't own them. We also haven't been inside them. We haven't driven them. We don't know if they break down. We don't know, right? Lots of unknowns. But we're going to present you with that side of the industry so you can see it. And then we are also going to talk about the outdoor recreation industry. And this came up kind of in a LinkedIn post the other day that I shared with Scott. Somebody, I think, I want to say his name was Wes Allen. We should go up and look.
It was Wes something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
him any
Wes
credit.
Allen, you're correct.
Wes Allen, okay. And he was posting. He wrote a really thoughtful article that, admittedly, I only read like half of because I didn't have time and skimmed it. Sorry, Wes. But but his core premise, I think, generally speaking, and I commented on the LinkedIn post, was that the 181 million participant number, right, in the outdoor industry is often cited as a number that is used to lobby in DC and to convince people of certain things and in PR and media and communications. And it sounds great, but we don't really have clarity into what is that 181 million person group compiled of, right? Is it people who are doing hiking, backcountry camping? Is it, and that's some of those people, right? Is it the people who are going to the private campgrounds and the KOAs? Is it the people who are going to the state parks and BLM land? Is it overlanders? Is it Class A people? Is it the people who are just going to buy a new pair of hiking shoes and going walking through the, I don't know, muddy trail that's around the house from around the corner from their house? And is that considered an outdoor industry participant? You know, if you walk a mile in your neighborhood, are you an outdoor industry participant? If you go shopping at REI and buy a jacket that's windproof, but never ever do anything but go to work in that windproof jacket, are you an outdoor industry participant? I don't know that we know, but I think it's worth unpacking and seeing what might be included and why. Yeah?
I think it's a great conversation to have.
All right. So before we get to that, what's been on your desk this week, Scott?
What's come across my desk is what you alluded to a little bit earlier, but I get asked almost every day of what I think is going to happen this year, and I just have to tell people I really don't know. There's too much uncertainty. I mean, I can use past data, I can use current data, what people are saying, but we live in a time of a great deal of uncertainty. And during uncertainty, people do a couple things. They tend to close off a little bit.
Yeah.
But they also want to do things that comfort them. And that's why I keep saying, if you're a campground, look at the neighbors, look at your neighbors, look at who's around you. I think that's your best opportunity this year. To stay really close to home, figure out how to bring those people in, talk to them, because I think that at this point it's the safest approach. And even if things turn around miraculously and everything is all wine and roses, that you've still done something really good for your business. You've still shored that up. So that's kind of how I'm framing things right now, because traditionally, camping was a respite. It was, I mentioned earlier that people tend to go camping when times are stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It's their escape, get outdoors. But I'm not sure that still holds true as much as it used to. It should, and we should see some increased participation based on these stressful events and things that are going on. But I don't think it's guaranteed anymore.
Well, the
But
flip side of that, and I don't want to interrupt you, but the flip side is the Gen Z that we talked about too, is that if the outdoors and camping and RVing causes Gen Z to be more stressed because they are unfamiliar with how to execute it properly, that's no longer a de-stressor.
right, it's adding stress to their lives, so they're going to go with what's comfortable. Again, what do they know? And that's, if they're going to go on a vacation, they're going to share an Airbnb with someone probably, or they're just going to do day trips. I would say the potential of this being the year of day trips is very high. And again, for a campground owner, that could be an opportunity for you. If you understand that that's happening, start filling up some of your sites with people, those day trippers, figure out a way to bring them in. But anyway,
well, let's be clear, like the way to bring them in is obviously to slash their tires so they can't get home.
Right.
They have to stay overnight
right.
somewhere.
Then when they get up the next day, offer a tire repair kit.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think about
Can we get in trouble legally for saying that on a podcast? I don't know if we can.
I don't know. Well,
do not listen to me.
Don't.
Wait, the air quotes probably disclaimed my. Now I'm fucked. All right.
We need a disclaimer. Yep.
Yeah, but I just air quoted the disclaimer, and that means that I didn't really mean the disclaimer. I'm
It's like
screwed.
you're in trouble, Brian.
Anyway, yeah.
You're in trouble.
All right. Sorry.
But yeah. Anyway, I think about that as going across my desk because that is something that's always on my mind, and I get asked about a lot. So I wish I had better answers. We're going to be doing some research that hopefully provides better answers here real soon. That we're gonna dig into some of this stuff. So hopefully,
are you talking about KOA's report or something else you're doing?
What's that?
Are you talking about KOA's report, something else you're doing, or you can't tell us?
It's one is the KOA report, and the other is stuff that I'm actively working on separately on my own. So, offer advice to anyone who has it.
I think people just need to do more guerrilla marketing. Like even as we will go into this conversation later about the 181 million people, like if you've got outdoor people who are outdoors because they're just going to buy a coat at REI or a pair of pants, because let's be honest, like I do this all the time too. I like the outdoor industry. I'd love to go camping and hiking more. I run my business that cuts into the ability of my time to be able to do that. Not that I can't do that, but I choose to balance my time and allocate it the way I want to. But I think there's an opportunity for you to go into your local gear store and be like, hey, like, do you mind if I just shove these 10% off coupons in everybody's pocket? Like all the clothes that are on the rack, right? And then when you go try on a pair of clothes, like even if you don't buy it, you're like, fuck, what's this, right? So I just think there's opportunities. Like if we end up, and nobody's saying we are yet, well, I think we are, but nobody's saying for sure we are, right? If we end up in a down or negative year, no matter how much or how little, there's opportunities always to rebound from that for sure, whether that's next year or 2 years or whatever it is, right? Depending on the macro versus the micro. But think of the ways that you can plan for the long term, because there's always going to be people interested in the outdoor industry and going camping and hiking and all those things. Your market is different. Your audience is different. Your consumer is different at your park versus everybody else's park. But figure out who that is and target them and make them aware of you. And then if it's not now, maybe it's not spring, maybe it's fall, maybe it's not this year, maybe it's next year. But the more you can make them aware of you, the better chance you have to get them as a guest, right?
Absolutely. It's, what we were kind of talking about earlier is to be that presence when the person's ready to make that decision. It's, be there. You may not get them the first time, the second time, but, get in front of them and keep talking about it. Because again, as you just said, a lot of these people are doing outdoor stuff already. Extend it. Get them to extend it. It's as they say in sales. It's like that's low hanging fruit. That's when you're easier sells. Is people are already doing outdoor stuff. That your conversion rate should be much higher than going out cold. So
and do not slash their tires.
Don't
there
slash.
Are much safer ways to do it, like setting up roadblocks of fake chemical spills where they have to turn around and the only place to go is your campground. There are much more safer plays than trying to vandalize someone's tires. So please don't do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the chemical spill would work. I do. I'm not
Yeah.
saying ever try it, but hypothetically,
Detour.
I think it would
Detour
be fascinating in a world like I can't wait. I know Facebook killed the metaverse temporarily, but I think that's where we end up in a few years. Anyway, like there's going to be a whole lot of people playing video games that are immersed in a headset that feel like they're there and right. But at that point, just like you can do with NVIDIA's robots thing that we've covered, where they put like robots in a simulation and then they learn like everything that could possibly happen when they're cooking a meal or loading a dishwasher or preparing a pot of coffee or doing laundry or whatever. They can simulate all that 200 billion times in a row. Imagine simulating the chemical spill or whatever. I'm just joking, right? But like imagine simulating all the different reasons that something could happen or would happen or what would happen if you did this or added different sites and then seeing how 10,000 different models of behaviors of people would react to that pull through. You could model your guest data and extrapolate it with AI over the next 5 years with 2 million people and see how many people come into that site based on a percentage and model. And it's going to be interesting to play with data that way.
Absolutely.
So anyway, don't do anything bad to people, please.
No.
Yeah. But there's other ways that you could be creative that are not bad. We're like the putting the cards in the shop of the outdoor gear place.
Right. Even one of the things I thought of once was, and I don't even know if this is a good idea, but it's like I was talking to a ranger from the White Mountain National Forest about how the trails were, the traffic on the trails were, and everything, and he was just like, they're absolutely packed. He said there's cars lined up, around, the visitor center for the forest, and he said the trails are just, people can't get places to park, all this. And I was thinking about it at the time that, man, if you were a campground owner putting a flyer under people's windshield wiper plate, it's like, hey, we're just 10 miles down the road. Stop in for the night, have a beer and have a campfire. And we have, food packages, if you didn't bring it with you for the night, something like that. Just,
yeah.
I don't know if it would work, but I think it'd be worth a try.
Yeah, and you could A/B test the chemical spill. No, I'm sorry, but no, for real, you're not wrong, right? Like just thinking about different ways that yes, they aren't I think almost that there's been this, and me, I'm pivoting into AI and I'm pivoting into data and research, but marketing is what has been our bread and butter for 15 years, and there were so many years that I've been an advocate really since the beginning of the agency, 2011, 12 when we started doing this. Of, you can reach more people on Facebook than you can going to an RV show. You can put an ad in front of people for a couple cents a pop and you can get their attention. And that has worked really well over a number of years if you know how to do your targeting right and your market audience research and send your message correctly and do all that stuff. But to that point and that detriment almost, there's been I forgot how to really connect with people in some cases. And I still think there's a play for what the fuck is this? I've never gotten a postcard in my life as a Gen Z, right? I've never gotten a handwritten letter. I've never gotten a if you collect the data and most people do with online PMS systems, right? They don't even need our data collection and booking intelligence and stuff like that. But if you look at the highest value people that stayed with you last year, people who spent pick a number over $300 or $500 or whatever it is, right? And you narrow that down to 50 or 100 people and send them all handwritten letters in the mail. Hope you come back this year. We really even if they don't come back, that they're telling a friend about this, they're posting on social media about this, they're emailing people about this. They're nobody gets letters anymore, especially not letters that are handwritten, right?
Right. Oh God. Yeah.
So it's just I think there's been that lost art of putting things under people's windshields and putting business cards in pockets and notices on billboard stores, bulletin boards, and just that guerrilla going out to the local, attraction or museum or whatever and saying hey, I'm a campground down the street. I'd love to partner with you. And I'm not saying that should be your number one go-to thing, right? But there is an art in that depending on who your audience is and depending on who you're trying to reach.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's a number of ways to kind of figure some of this stuff out. You try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that's how a lot of marketing works, as you know, is that you need to do that A/B test. You need to, test different things and try different things out. It's because sometimes you never know what hits. You just you can do all the intelligence in the world, but sometimes you just don't know what hits and why, but it does.
I'm still just a big proponent of not a proponent of, because that's the wrong word. I still just really believe that this group of campground owners who have been in this industry for 30, 40 years or shorter, right? But a long time, have never really had to go through a downturn where they've had to look at their marketing and say, I need to think outside the box.
Yep,
I don't think they have. I think
I would agree with that. Not at this level, absolutely.
I don't wish that on anybody, but I think it's coming, micro level, not macro. And I think that you guys are going to just have, I don't think you're going to suffer if you're willing to take an objective step back and look at your marketing and say, I have tried Google ads, but now it's not converting as high. I've tried Facebook ads, it's not converting as high. I used to post on organic social media and get 10,000 likes, but now I'm only getting 1,000. Something's different. Something's wrong. It's not necessarily is your park or your area or the budget people are willing to spend. It could be that, and you should look at that, but maybe it's just Facebook's algorithm changed. Maybe it's just the generational gap in your area changed, or the people who are coming changed, or the fact that you added cabins is different than now that you had RV sites, or people are buying teardrop trailers instead of buying Class A's, and that's a different way to reach people. And maybe your targeting just doesn't have to change on Facebook. Maybe it's just something. Maybe it's putting stickers on windshield, not stickers on windshields, but flyers under windshields. Stickers on windshields would probably get in trouble too.
You might get in trouble for that, yeah.
But that would be sticky. So for marketing, but just I think you're going to get to a point in the next year or two where on a micro level, you are going to some of you are going to have to be forced to be more creative than you ever have been previously, specifically as it relates to your marketing and your amenities and who you're tailing to and how you're reaching them and what you're providing. Like earlier on Fireside Chats, we were talking about hydroponic gardens. To me, that's I don't know. I mean, this thing was $1,500 and it's in my living room, right? And I'm growing lettuce and basil and oregano and cherry tomatoes and jalapeno peppers, and they grow super fast. And so to me, that's just an investment that even if it doesn't pan out, then okay, my manager can eat all that stuff. And it's a perk of her working there, right? Or him working there. But if not, it's a really cool, look at what I have and you can come, here's a community garden, right? Just, there are so many things that are not expensive that really can differentiate you. And just, I don't think the industry's been pushed into the necessity to do that yet. My nose is itchy for some reason today. But I don't know. I don't hope that anybody has to go to that point, but also I kind of do. I hope they get there without going through the downturn is what I'm trying to say. Right.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll keep trying to push on the show and see what happens. My week was spent on data mostly. So as it has been for all of 2026, it feels like, right? But just thinking through the different ways that we can collate and gather and aggregate data in the industry. And I know I see this every week, but man, my nose is really itchy. It's the top of my nose, Scott. I think I might have a disease or something.
You might.
If it falls off during the show, let me know.
It's probably something severe.
Yeah, I probably should WebMD it or ChatGPT it. I was at my eye doctor the other day, and my eye doctor was skeptical of me because I was I have this thing I want to ask you about. Oh, everybody's been coming in with non-Western medicine things for their eyes. I'm it's sort of that, but I do a little bit more in-depth research. And so anyway, but the ChatGPT is, I think, exacerbated the WebMD thing is my point. But so mine was just spent on the different, what are different ways that we can continue to gather data? We released our booking intelligence product. We're working on a couple other things, gathering data about the people who visit your sites, what they do, looking at how you appear in AI search, looking at how weather impacts stuff, looking how gas prices and road trips and distance affect things, looking at how all that correlates and ties together with all the data you already have. I just think it's interesting to sit and think, especially and iterate for me with AI, to say, like, here's a thing that people are doing right now for data, right? Or here's a lack of something somebody has. And maybe the hotel industry has had that data for years, maybe it hasn't. But even if they have had it, don't just go out and tell me how to build what the hotel industry has. Tell me how to think from first principles and tell me how you would build it better for 2026 and beyond, preparing for whatever we're going to go with AI agents and robots and all the things, right? And so it's just fascinating to me. The whole idea of like building the data collection is almost more interesting than the data collection itself right now. So it's fun for me. Like we're creating, like we're giving people like numbers of like RV intelligence. Who are your guests? Do they have slide outs? What's the average length of their rig? Like, this is all data that you have. You just don't collate and aggregate and look at and develop a guest profile of, right? So I don't know. That's what's on my desk, and that's what I've been playing around with.
And it's what's really interesting about that is on the back end of it is where I really kind of get geeked out on, kind of looking at what factors impact what predicts what what are the relationships? How do you dig in there and start looking at some of the outcomes? I mean, I just did an analysis for someone, and I, unfortunately, I can't talk too much about it, but it was really interesting to see how things like, distance traveled was a big predictor of some of the outcomes, and in a way that, was really linear. When you look at it, you're like, wow, that's really cool, because it tells you that the relationship is direct. That there are some relationships within the data that are just, really strong and to me, it's like, that's kind of what it's all about. You see those things and it's like, this is good information. You can use it. People can start digesting it, and, we can help lead them along the way to say, well, this is what it means and how you could use it to your advantage. So, it's like, I'm looking forward to seeing some more of the stuff that you get.
Yeah, building the camper profile is just really interesting to me, like deeply understanding them. But I was also talking to an owner this morning who owns multiple groups, and his recurring question to me, as many, many people's are, and rightfully so, is like, okay, you got all this data and it's brand new, but like, I'm overwhelmed with data already. What am I going to do with it? And so again, I think that's for thinking from first principles. Like, I think at some point, especially with AI, the data has got to surface itself.
Sure.
Like, I think every morning you should wake up to a dashboard that you see like the top 5 things to do today, or insights that you should surface today. These are high importance, medium importance, low importance. And it should just tell you the insights instead of you having to go dig for them. That's where I think it needs to work.
Absolutely. And people need to look at these things and again, digest the information, figure out how does it apply to you, what you're doing, what you need to accomplish. What does it actually tell you? And if you have data that if you have a lot of data and you're not doing anything with it, give us a call, send us a note. We'll analyze it for you, because we love doing that.
All right. Let's talk about Chinese RVs first. You open for that?
Let's do it.
All right. So I pulled up a couple things, and this is like, I intentionally do this. I don't know if you like doing it, Scott, but I intentionally am entering the wrong passcode on my keyboard because I don't remember what my laptop password is apparently. Going into some of this stuff cold and learning with you guys on the show in real time, right? So like lots of podcast hosts do prep. I don't like to do prep because I like to see where the shows take me, especially MC Fireside Chats here. But with some of the things where we experiment live and in real time, like I think it's more fun to see where things diverge and they go. So I like learning with all of you. So I had AI go out and have a bunch of cool videos that we're going to watch. Well, I think they're cool videos. I haven't watched them. That we'll watch together in a little bit. But before that, I also did kind of a dive into the Chinese RV industry and, you know, how it's different from our own in the US. And so this is what I got so far, Scott. I'm going to share my screen here. Or Jessica's going to share my screen. So again, this is just something that Manus prepared for me, like in, right before the show. So I basically went and I asked it, like, what is the difference? Made a better prompt, right? But what is the difference between the American RV industry and the Chinese RV industry? What is it like? Who's adopted it? Where are they distributing their RVs? What is camping like in China, et cetera, et cetera? Just give me some brief points about that stuff, right? And so this is talking points for a podcast host or whatever, right? But I thought it would be interesting to briefly kind of skim through this, and then we can look at some videos and stuff. So for the podcast people, this doesn't look like it's too long of an article. We'll kind of skim through this and read it a little bit. But so how the Chinese industry is innovating, and stop me if you want to comment, Scott, or talk about stuff like that. But how the Chinese market is innovating, differentiating itself and disrupting global markets, particularly in Australia, and why it poses a significant threat to the traditional American RV manufacturing model.
And Phil mentioned the Australia connection on.
Yeah, he said that earlier on the podcast.
Our side, yeah.
So the core narrative, a tale of two industries. The recreational vehicle industry is currently experiencing a profound structural shift. For decades, the global market has been dominated by the American manufacturing hub in Elkhart County, Indiana, which produces approximately 80% of all RVs in the United States. However, a new challenger has emerged, the Chinese RV industry. While the American industry has faced increasing criticism over quality control, water damage, and a race to the bottom in mass production, not our words, stay I, right? Chinese manufacturers have taken a radically different approach by leveraging advanced automotive manufacturing techniques, composite materials, and cutting-edge electric vehicle technology. Chinese RVs are entering the market at significantly lower price points while offering superior standard equipment. And then I guess talking points for the host. Manufacturing differences, wood versus aluminum. The fundamental difference between American and Chinese RVs lies in how they are built. The American approach is the stick and tin method. The majority of American travel trailers and motorhomes are built using wood frames. While inexpensive and easy to assemble, wood is highly susceptible to water damage, rot, and mold. A minor leak in the roof or a wood's window seal can quickly destroy the structural integrity of the vehicle. The Chinese approach is automotive-grade construction. Chinese manufacturers are heavily utilizing composite lamination and aluminum or galvanized steel frames. Instead of wood, they use polyurethane insulation sandwiched between aluminum or fiberglass panels. This makes the camper virtually impervious to the type of rot that plagues American vehicle models. Models like the Star RV Comet, built in China and assembled in the U.S., feature an all-aluminum powder-coated cabinetry secured with solid steel fasteners, a stark contrast to the staples and thin paneling often found in domestic units. This is a quote from Rex Willett, the president of North Star Campers. For the past several years, every RV manufacturer has assembled their line of campers with 80% or higher Chinese-made parts. All American and Canadian OEM manufacturers are simply assembling campers with Chinese parts and appliances. That's interesting. The price point disruption. The pricing disparity between the two markets is staggering, largely due to the efficiency of Chinese manufacturing and the integration of the supply chain. A micro camper teardrop average American price is $15,000 to $25,000 in 2025. Comparable Chinese price is $8,000 to $12,000, almost 50% less. A Class B camper van is $100,000 to $180,000. Comparable Chinese price is $44,000, 55% less. A hybrid electric motorhome is $200,000 plus and is rare in America. $63,000 BYD Wanaka in comparable Chinese price, 68% less. And a factory-built 4x4 van is $150,000 in America, $90,000 LDV Deliver 9, 40% less in China. Chinese prices represent domestic market conversions or Australian export prices, and U.S. import prices vary due to tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. The Australian market is a glimpse into the future. If you want to see what happens when Chinese RVs enter a mature market, look at Australia. The Australian caravan industry is currently in crisis, with multiple local manufacturers collapsing under the weight of rising domestic costs and fierce international competition. the LDV Deliver 9 camper van. Launched in late 2025, this factory-built Chinese camper van hit the Australian market at around 90,000 AUD, Australian dollars. It is fully turnkey and undercuts legacy European competitors like the Volkswagen Grand California by nearly half. Caravan and camper trailer imports into Australia have risen steadily, reaching approximately 20,000 units annually. Australian customers who have already embraced Chinese passenger cars are now pivoting to Chinese caravans due to the immense value proposition. The warning for America, the collapse of luxury Australian builders like Zone RV, serves as a cautionary tale for Elkhart, Indiana. When consumers are offered superior materials like composites and better technology at a fraction of the price, brand loyalty quickly evaporates. So the question, Scott, is before we even finish this, right? The question to you is, or to the audience or the RV industry, or like I know what some of these answers are, right? The question is, and you and I were briefly discussing this before the show, right? I don't know if we agreed on anything, but we were discussing it very, very briefly. Do we then go protectionist on the RV industry and say like, and again, I'm just parroting and repeating the narrative that AI is giving. I'm not saying that this is Scott or I's direct view, right? But let's assume that what is coming out of the mouth of AI here is true, okay? Do we then want to be protectionist and say, like, we need our RV industry to survive and continue to build the wood-framed things that are, in AI's view, shit and easy to destroy and damage and water and all that? Do we want to be protectionist and just have these quote-unquote terrible models that are susceptible to all this stuff because we need our RV industry to survive? Or do we want better for the consumer?
I always opt on the side of the consumer. Also, in terms of, if you believe in a free market, that the introduction of these models would force our RV industry to innovate or die. Sounds harsh, I know, but it's true. It's like you will need to innovate, in my opinion, and I think that's going to happen regardless.
They will innovate regardless?
They're going to have to survive.
Well, if they ban Chinese RVs, they might not.
But I think even if they don't, that they'll, because the path they're on right now is not.
Sure, but it'll be a way slower burn.
It would be slower, but more painful. It's like rip the Band-Aid off. In my view, let the consumer decide. My point of view is I want people to be out in going outdoors. I want them to go RVing if they want. I want them to do those things. And if the costs are too high and the quality is too low, I think I mentioned earlier about the auto industry in the 70s. The U.S. auto industry, instead of building cars that got better gas mileage, were higher quality, they tried to prevent Japanese automakers from coming to the U.S. And we saw how that worked. The Japanese cars came to the market. They had better quality. They had great gas mileage, and they kicked the crap out of the U.S. Automotive manufacturers who had to adjust. They had to make those adjustments to their fleets, and they have over time. And you see where we are today. But that is, to me, is the life cycle. Look 40, 50 years ago, and that's a model for what in all likelihood could happen with the industry.
Well, and the interesting thing then is you extrapolate that on and say, like, okay, well, now if that's our choice, and let's pretend we side with the consumer on that argument, right? But then the other flip side of the argument is what about all the good paying jobs? And before we even get to that point, let's look at how in the world does China make an RV that is not wood, a la cheaper material, right? How do they put composites and put fiberglass and put together good units for 40 to 60% less than the American industry is putting them together? And I have to believe that that's directly tied to the labor costs in America, right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely part of it.
Right. So then the question becomes like, and again, I recognize that we're wading into Like we got waders on and we're wading through a big sewer busted pipe of shit right now on the show, right? So we're not saying we have the answers. We're saying that then what is the trade-off from the consumer perspective or the business perspective? Because if we allow Chinese RVs to come in to help the RV industry in America innovate faster, and let's say that some of those manufacturers do adapt and change and survive and even go on to thrive as a result of that, that competition, though, creates a whole nother scenario where we now have to manufacture these RVs if we're not only we're innovating and creating something that matches what China has, but we've got to then create an RV that is cost effective, that can match the pricing that's being imported. And yes, there's tariffs right now on everything from China and all that. I don't know if they apply to Chinese RVs. I think they apply to, I think tariffs apply to almost everything now. But so like, how do we match that long term and lower our costs as a manufacturer who wants to survive this? And the answer is you have to automate factories, right?
Sure. Yeah. And you should start now by figuring this stuff out, your raw materials, all those things. And again, to use the automobile manufacturers as the example, they what they did is they just started moving manufacturing here to the US, Canada, Mexico, all have a lot of manufacturing from Asian automotive manufacturers. So
BYD wants to open up dealerships and stuff in Canada. So
yeah. So I mean, and so there, when you talk about the economy and stuff, it's like, they help our economy, now because they're providing really good jobs, and it's right here domestically. So that's where I feel that it needs to go.
Well, so I mean, and we don't want to spend too much time on the economics of that, right? But if they come here, let's pretend a Chinese manufacturer comes here and whatever, just for the sake of argument, moves to Elkhart, Indiana, and opens up a factory and starts producing Chinese RVs. And let's assume that they can, for whatever reason, do that still for 40 to 60% less than American manufacturers. They are providing jobs. Are they providing the same high quality jobs? I don't know, because there's some reason that the American manufacturers are charging 60% more. Either it's because their margins have gone up, the tariffs from China have gone up, the labor costs have gone up. Something is causing them to charge more. I can't just believe that they're just taking 60% more margins, right? I mean, they might be. I don't know for sure. But my point is, there's something that has to give, right? It's not going to be a win-win for everybody. Yeah.
Right. There will be some give and take, but again, I think it's good. It's good overall for the
I think it's good overall too.
Of the industry. It's like,
I mean, I'm all for my Chinese vehicles that I get. We were talking about this before the show, I think. All for my Chinese vehicles that I'm going to be able to purchase in Canada. There's a limit of like 50,000 a year, I think, but I'm all for that. And then, like, I was reading the other day that the ambassador to Canada, I think, said like the Chinese vehicles, if you own one, if I buy a Chinese vehicle in Canada, I cannot drive it over the border of the United States. Makes no sense to me. But anyway. All right. So continuing on our story here, right? The way Chinese consumers use RVs is also fundamentally different from the traditional American snowbird model. Nascent but exploding, the Chinese RV fleet is tiny compared to the US, around 213,000 units versus 11 million in America, but it is growing at an astonishing rate. In 2024, the market grew by over 109%. The lying flat movement, a major driver of RV adoption in China, is the younger generation. So there we go. Disillusioned by the intense 996 work culture, 9 to 9, 6 days a week, young Chinese adults are embracing youth retirement. They are buying affordable camper vans and moving to rural areas to escape the rat race, turning motorhomes into practical solutions for high urban rent. EV integration. Because China is the global leader in electric vehicles, their RVs reflect this. In Q3 2025, Sales of electric motorhomes in China surged by 234%. Models built on the BYD T5DM hybrid chassis offer 1,000 kilometers of range. This is insane to me, right? Like, even in Teslas don't even get 1,000 kilometers of range, right? And massive battery banks that power the living quarters off-grid for days without the need for a noisy gas generator. So that's it for that one, right? So what do you think about all that? The market in general before we get into some of the...
That what that does is, that last part, especially about the youth early retirement, the appeal of that is huge because, again, being able to go off grid, essentially, for long stretches of time, it appeals to the idea that people want that kind of experience. They want to go, boondocking. They can stay at more places for free. Makes them more independent. It's it holds a ton of appeal.
I gotta think of a way to share this. Hold on, with Jessica over there. I'm gonna send it to myself in Slack, but I don't have Slack on my thing, so I gotta get on my phone and do it because I reinstalled everything here. And then we're gonna watch some Chinese videos. Where do you want to of RVs? Where do you want to start, Scott? Do you want to start with? We have high-tech and luxury motorhomes in this document. We have off-road and expedition vehicles. We have compact, micro, and pop-up, and innovative designs and unique features. Market disruptors. I think we should just start from the bottom up.
Just pick one because it's like all those topics are great. I'm interested in every single one. So,
and again, some of these are longer and shorter and whatever else. But we're going to figure all that out. Hold on. As soon as I can figure out how to share this. Share, public access, copy link, Slack. Shout out to Slack, who I don't really use on a day-to-day basis, but maybe you could pay for it, and maybe they're a sponsor of this video. So click that, open that up, and there's a bunch of YouTube videos in there. We're just going to scroll all the way to the bottom, but make sure, see how it's over on your screen? You're covering me up. Just click it and drag it over to the other screen. And we'll start all the way at the bottom. And then we're going to look at the NJ Star hybrid camper in Australia. A look at an off-road capable hybrid camping trailer from a Chinese manufacturer, demonstrating the rugged, compact designs that are gaining traction among Australian campers. And we'll just if any of these get boring or weird or too long, you just call it out, Scott, or I'll call it out, and we'll say let's move on to something else, right? We'll just kind of take a look at this stuff.
This is interesting. Overlanding is a growing sector, so this could be super applicable.
All right, well, that was a great video. That was really short. Okay, that looked kind of like something we have already. Let's do the $12,000 Dettel RV. This video highlights a motorhome that combines luxury and technology at an advertised price point that is virtually unheard of in the American market, sparking massive online interest. So this is a video called China Reveals Insane 2025 Motorhome for under $12,000. So we'll take a look at this. The $12,000 Dettel RV. Just got to switch screens here. And then just queue up the next one after this one so you have it ready, Jessica. Okay. Go ahead.
On BYD and other Chinese companies, another Chinese company was quietly developing something that has now shaken the world. Imagine a motorhome that doesn't just move, but is a complete mobile home in itself. While others are grappling with skyrocketing housing prices and expensive travel expenses, this machine seems straight out of a science fiction film. One where comfort, luxury, and adventure all come together. This motorhome boasts features you'll hardly believe are real. But the real question is it truly worth the hype? Or is it just another overpriced showpiece? In the following video, we'll reveal all its secrets, its technology, price, and the features that set it apart from the rest. So, before we dive into the video, subscribe to our channel to be the first to see more powerful...
Let's skip ahead to
ovens. This company has been manufacturing smart travel vehicles and luxury camping vehicles for many years. Chinese RV pioneered the concept of smart living on wheels, a home that can be both moved and lived in. The mobile home culture has been growing rapidly in China for several years.
Those little humps or whatever look like it's been... Go to the next one. See if any... Okay, try there.
Vehicle is built on the Iveco Daily chassis, known for its strength and reliability. It's powered by a 3.0-liter turbocharged diesel engine that produces approximately 176 horsepower. This means that whether you're on city streets or on a mountain trail, this motorhome moves smoothly and folds out to...
Any videos of inside of the trailer? This feels like we should just skip this one. This guy's like got a bunch of AI generated stuff and stock videos and only like 5 or 6 photos of the interior of it. Let's try to watch this one right here, the one that's really... Go before this one, the big, and see if that's anything, and then we'll just skip it and go to the next one.
Which recharge energy throughout the day to power the lights, TV, and AC at night. It features a...
Try there.
Because every inch counts in a motorhome, everything has been designed to be multifunctional. For example, the bed converts into storage drawers from the bottom, and the table folds out to become a working desk or dining space. Solar panels are installed on the top, which recharge energy throughout the day to power the lights, TV, and AC at night. It features a built-in washroom with a shower, smart toilet, and hot water.
All right, pause it. Yeah, it looks like it's all out of sync. Anyway, all right, so that's Dettel. Like, it doesn't look that different than what we have, though, honestly, does it, Scott? Like, we have a lot of that stuff in America. You're muted. I can't hear you. Did you mute yourself?
Sorry, yeah, I did. Sorry. Yeah, it seems like the big differentiator there is just the price point.
Yeah. All right. So then what's the... I just want to look at the LDV 9 camper van. Let's see what we got here, if this is different or we just need to ship this. Shaking up the local industry by offering a fully fitted... Yeah, let's just skip that one. It's less half the price. All right. Innovative designs and unique features. The amphibious concept motorhome. Let's try that one. Look into the future with a futuristic concept motorhome designed to travel seamlessly on both land and water. How about that?
All right, I'm into this. All right. I hope it doesn't disappoint.
Ever seen a motorhome that literally floats on water? Well, get ready, because what you're about to discover is going to completely change your perspective on what you thought a motorhome was. We're not talking about those basic caravans with bunk beds and a mini fridge anymore. We're talking about 2-story mansions with elevators, vehicles that transform at the press of a button, and beasts that cost more than a coastal villa. In this video, we'll look at the 8 most insane motorhomes in existence, from one that hides a supercar inside it to one with a helipad on the roof. Stay until the end, because number 1 is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Number 8, SAIC Maxis Life Home V90. We're starting strong with a gem of modern Chinese engineering that looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. At first glance, it looks like a modern motorhome, but when it parks, the magic happens. This vehicle has a transformer feature. The roof unfolds upward, literally creating a complete second floor with a glass-enclosed balcony. But don't think you climb up a folding ladder. The engineers at SAIC installed a cylindrical personal glass elevator inside. Yes, an elevator inside a van. The upper floor works as a Zen solarium or tea lounge with electronically tinted windows, while downstairs you have a luxury living room with transparent OLED technology. It's the perfect demonstration of how China is miniaturizing real estate luxury to fit it on the road. Compact while traveling, a duplex villa when parked. Number 7. Element Palazzo Superior. If Darth Vader decided to go on vacation to Monaco, he'd drive this. Made by Marchi Mobile, this vehicle is famous for its circular cockpit that looks like a Cyclops eye or the cabin of a futuristic attack helicopter. At over 12 meters long, its design isn't just strange aesthetics. It's pure aerodynamics to save fuel in a 28-ton beast. But the real spectacle is on the roof.
I don't know if all these are Chinese. I think just the first one was, Scott.
Okay, the rooftop one, it reminded me of when we did our review of the retro RVs. Remember they had ones with the rooftop patio.
All right, so let's go on to a couple other ones because we want to focus on Chinese ones specifically during this today. Let's go to the number. We did innovative design, right? So there's Lido Aquila 360 caravan, styled more like a luxury yacht than a traditional travel trailer. This caravan is built with an aluminum frame similar to automotive manufacturing techniques. I don't know if that sounds super fast.
Oh my gosh, if y'all saw the thumbnail, you are in for a treat today. We are looking at the Starlight Lido product. This is a Chinese caravan manufacturer. This is their Aquila 360. And this thing is basically built like a vehicle, about as close as you could get, and then like a yacht inside. Really, really impressive, very cool. Let's go take a look, come on. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Miles with Firmly Unbound, and we are here at the Caravan Salon event in Dusseldorf, Germany, taking a look at this 2026 Aquila 360. That's from Starlight Lido, which you can see up there. This is a Chinese manufacturer, and it is very impressive what they're doing here. If we can find floor plan layout and specs, we'll put that on the screen. It's hard sometimes with the language differences and whatnot, but oh, nice. Actually, we got some stuff here that is in English. Okay, a couple things mentioned here, but stuff we're going to go through. Some things like I haven't seen yet. There's a 360-degree surveillance camera system. That is pretty dang cool. It has a diesel air heater in here. So that's another thing that's interesting. It's a diesel heating system. And then it also is going to have the retractable roof up here that really opens up the space nice and then collapses it down when you are towing. And it has frosted glass windows here. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But first of all, very unique entrance into this caravan or camper here, as the back of this will open up. You see how this is going to collapse down, basically like the hatch on a vehicle would essentially, and then this will go up. It looks like this actually goes up first, and then this will collapse down, and it just closes up the back end of this caravan there. You can kind of see what that looks like. And then this is all fiberglass exterior, but what's even more impressive before we go looking through the inside of this is the shell of what it is built with. So this is all aluminum plates here for your entire shell. So not just aluminum frame pieces, but the entire like structure of this thing underneath the fiberglass is all aluminum. So that is really, really high grade. I'm curious what like a price on something like this is gonna be like, because I have not seen anything constructed quite like this, and this definitely gets it a lot closer to, you know, kind of vehicle manufacturing standards, which is very interesting to see. That was one of the most fascinating things. Show you some of the manufacturing here on this little teardrop trailer. You can see a lot of machine-made parts here, including like the riveting system and the molding for the shell. Then lots of different exterior color options too that you can get. Take a look at some of the stuff going on there. So as we step inside, you can tell they're trying to give it like a boat style aesthetic. Look at this thing, y'all. That is so cool. So right when you walk in, great lighting everywhere. Everything that we see from the eastern part of the world really emphasizes the lighting. I'm gonna get the music turned off real quick though, so we can walk in here without having to talk over the music. And just wanna give you a size perspective with this top popping up here. I mean, you can see me sitting in this booth area. There is so much space. And then you can sit back into this area.
All right, we're good on this one, I think. All right, so that,
this is a cool...
That, like, we've seen teardrops, I think. I don't know if there's something similar here, but I think the big difference with that one was the aluminum, right?
Yeah, the
price point. So, motorhome with a glass roof. I feel like we just maybe that's the same one we just talked about, but we'll look at it again. This vehicle offers an unconventional camping experience by featuring a massive glass roof, allowing for stargazing and immense natural light inside the cabin. Let's see if it's the same one that we did before. I'm excited to get to the luxury stuff. That's what I want to get to.
Hello and welcome. I'm at Caravan Salon. Caravan Salon is also an event which appears in
I think we should go to the
China.
next year,
So Messe Dusseldorf, the
I
organizer,
was thinking the same
Dusseldorf
thing.
Trade Fair, has a relationship
really good show.
with
I
China.
knew like 5
Sometimes
people who were going. Like I knew 5 people who went, and they were messaging me while they were there. So I think
we see Chinese vehicles here. So I'm going to show you this Chinese vehicle, which I believe probably drove all the way. That was a great journey, and really, I'd like to do that anyway. But the Chinese vehicles are completely different to what we've got. This one here is on the Iveco base, so you might think, well, that's quite similar. But let's now have a look in here. Start off at the back, an enormous shower. This vehicle, I would say, is 6 meters 20, something like that. Lots of space here in this washroom. Now down here I find they've got a washing machine. It wouldn't surprise me if that washing machine turned out to be a domestic unit. Got an enormous sink there as well. We've got a fridge down here. I'm not going to open it because they may have their own private stuff in there. And note, they've also got the kettle connected to the mains. So they'll no doubt have got a stack of electrical stuff on the roof, which is quite common with the Chinese vehicles I've seen here. We've got what is, I suspect, a microwave there. I don't know because I can't read Chinese. And also something here that appears to be quite a deep double floor. This will no doubt convert into a bed using the table down there. It is somewhat luxurious and elegant looking. What about this though? Look at that enormous space on the roof. Well, so bang goes my theory about the solar panels on the roof. I wonder where they're getting the electricity from for all this stuff inside. So let's come to the front. Here we notice we've got something which will move up and down. We've got a ladder getting there, bed up here, and the bed with this tent here in the roof is to increase the amount of space for the people in the bedroom.
You could probably move on, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty interesting. And we should there are some really interesting kind of unique people too. My computer over here froze, so tell me what the next one is. I don't know. Apparently my computer just decided to not move anymore. I'll reboot it. Compact micro and pop-up trailers. So a three-wheel micro camper. Let's look at that.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's play that. Ooh, that looks kind of cool.
That's wild.
As the sun sets over a quiet countryside road, golden light reflects off this beautifully designed three-wheel micro camper. At first glance, it doesn't look like a traditional RV. It looks modern, refined, and surprisingly elegant. And that's exactly what makes it so interesting. Today, we're taking a closer look at this luxury micro camper and exploring whether this compact machine could truly redefine solo road trips. Let's start with the exterior design. The first thing you notice is the three-wheel setup. That instantly sets it apart. It gives the vehicle a lightweight, agile appearance while maintaining stability with its dual rear wheels.
Why only have three wheels?
This design suggests efficiency.
I think it's a great
likely
thing.
Better fuel economy or even potential electric performance. The body shape is sleek and aerodynamic. Smooth curves, a large panoramic windshield, and a clean two-tone finish give it a premium automotive feel rather than a typical camper look. It feels like a crossover between a futuristic city car and a tiny luxury motorhome. Now look at the front fascia. The narrow LED headlights and rounded nose create a friendly yet modern identity. It doesn't feel aggressive. It feels refined. The compact proportions mean easy maneuverability, perfect for narrow roads, city drive.
A Chinese pop-top truck camper. A review of an insanely lightweight, budget-friendly pop-top camper designed to slide into a standard pickup truck. We've got that. So we don't need to watch that. Let's skip that one. We've got those, right? Like those are, yeah, all right. Tiny Vroom micro camper, showcasing a revolutionary micro camper van concept that challenges traditional RV layouts by prioritizing extreme compactness. We already got that. 2. Let's see. Van Gogh RV small camper, micro camper with a unique pop-top roof design that significantly expands the sleeping area. We've already seen one of those. No, we're skipping all these. I'm scrolling. We're looking for something interesting, right? Because we got to the 181 million people. Dettel RV Easy Tour, detailed look at a sub 6 meter camper. We've seen that. So everybody can use, not everybody, but lots of people can use space, right? Off-road and expedition vehicles. Let's go to that. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's do a compilation video featuring 5 incredibly affordable Chinese 4x4 camper vans, proving that off-road capability does not always require a massive budget. That sound good?
I think that's a great segment.
And then we're going to get to the luxury ones coming up soon, so we'll see.
About off-road adventures, but think a 4x4 camper van is way out of your price range? Think again. China is producing some surprisingly capable and affordable four-wheel drive camper vans that are starting to turn heads worldwide. These rigs are built for adventure, packed with features, and cost a fraction of what you'd pay for a similar Western brand. In this video, I'm taking you through 5 of the cheapest Chinese 4x4 camper vans you can buy in 2025. Whether you're chasing dirt trails or just want a rugged travel rig without breaking the bank, this list is your starting point. Let's get into it. The Great Wall Power 4WD pickup camper is one of the most promising and affordable Chinese-built overland-style campers available in 2025. Built on the rugged Great Wall Power pickup chassis, this camper is designed to blend serious off-road capability with basic living comforts, all without a Western-sized price tag. Underneath, you get a full-time 4x4 drivetrain powered by a 2.0-liter turbo diesel engine or a 2.4-liter gasoline engine, depending on the market. It's paired with a 6-speed manual or 8-speed automatic transmission and includes selectable drive modes, locking rear differential, and solid ground clearance, features you want in any real adventure-ready vehicle. It's no surprise this platform has become the base for many camper conversions across Asia, Australia, and the Middle East. On top of that, chassis sits a factory-installed or aftermarket camper module that turns the pickup into a fully self-contained RV. The camper shell includes sleeping accommodations for 2, a compact kitchenette, a small dinette, and often an integrated wet bath. Some models even offer pop-top roofs or slide-outs for added space. While the layout is simple, it provides the essentials needed for weeks of off-grid travel. Interior materials vary by trim level, but most versions come with wipe-clean vinyl, LED lighting, diesel heating, and basic water storage. There's usually a solar panel system, 100-300 watts, a small inverter, and either AGM or lithium batteries to support off-grid power.
How's that one?
Great Wall also supports add-on.
I want to get to the interesting stuff. Do you, Scott?
Yeah. But man, that dude had some hairy ass arms, huh?
I know. Do we want to keep looking at budget people, or we just want to go to the really cool stuff?
Let's look at one more off-road. I want to see one more of their off-road ones.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Reputable Chinese manufacturer, the Maxxis Pickup 4WD motorhome offers excellent value, versatility, and global usability.
It's a growing segment.
If you're hunting for a serious off-road motorhome that can go way beyond the beaten path, The Citrac 4x4 motorhome truck is a powerhouse worth considering. Built by CLW Group in China and based on the heavy-duty Citrac C5H platform, this rig is more than just a camper. It's a full-blown expedition vehicle. While it's not in the same price bracket as some of the smaller, budget-friendly Chinese campers, it offers outstanding value compared to similar Western models. Under the hood, the Citrac is equipped with a 270 horsepower MAN engine paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission. It features a true 4x4 drivetrain, robust suspension, and off-road tires designed to tackle tough terrain. This motorhome isn't built for cozy weekend camping. It's engineered for long-haul overlanding in harsh environments. Ground clearance is excellent, and the truck's heavy-duty build means it can handle significant payload and stress on uneven roads or remote routes. Inside, the living quarters are designed for 4 to 6 people. You get a large overhead bed, convertible seating and dining space, a full bathroom with a separate shower, and a functional kitchen. It comes with a built-in solar panel system, fresh water and gray water tanks, roof-mounted air conditioning, and ample storage throughout. The quality of materials and layout are a step above most budget.
What did you say?
I'm fine. I just wanted to kind of see something else, because again, I know I keep saying it, but the overlanding category is growing, and these vehicles could be very disruptive to that in a good way, I think.
Yeah.
They're I mean, if you're going off road off grid for a few days, I mean that's a pretty sweet setup.
Let's look at the Armadilla Conqueror. One more off-road. Armadilla Conqueror T with a folding balcony. Built on Mercedes-Benz Aerox 8x8 chassis, this extreme expedition vehicle includes a power-operated folding balcony with teak flooring. That sounds interesting, yeah.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
I want something that can survive the zombie apocalypse. Just in case. You never know.
Picture a vehicle packing 578 horsepower, 8-wheel drive, and even a folding balcony finished in teak wood. Now take it a step further. This same machine is also a fully equipped home, featuring 3 air conditioners, a queen-size bedroom, and an expandable living space that grows from 20 to 25 square meters at the push of a button. Meet the Red Dot Design award-winning Armadillo Conqueror T, a Chinese-built 11-meter-long powerhouse engineered on the Mercedes-Benz Aerox platform. Designed for extreme terrain, this military-grade foundation allows the Conqueror T to push the boundaries of what expedition living can be. This isn't just another off-road RV. It's a mobile penthouse with unmatched capability, combining luxury, engineering, and raw off-road dominance into one unstoppable machine. Today, we're breaking down every detail of this remarkable build. Watch the video and let us know in the comments how this Chinese expedition RV stacks up against the American heavyweight, the Earth Roamer SX. Let's dive in.
Okay, are we good? Want to see? We saw the inside of it already. All right, so let's dive in. We have 4 different high-tech and luxury motorhomes. We'll start with Maxis Life Home V90 Villa Edition. Perhaps one of the most extravagant designs, this RV features a pop-up second story and an internal elevator, offering, I wonder if it's the same one that we saw in the preview in the other one, offering an unparalleled amount of living space when parked. Maybe they'll give us a different in-depth tour of it. We'll see. Yeah, it looks like the same one we saw, but I want to see the inside of it. Let's just see if they take it. Come on, you can do it. Take us inside. You're going to do it?
They're kind of boring. This external.
Yeah, that's important, dude. It's all outside.
Boring.
Yeah, all that. It's ridiculous. People should be banned from making YouTube videos that are not.
Yeah, that whoever did that needs to be fired.
Yeah. All right. The Dettel RV Carbonic Liner 78. This model utilizes a carbon fiber body to reduce weight while maintaining structural integrity, a feature rarely seen in standard RV manufacturing. All right. Well, that doesn't sound too exciting. We're just going to go to YouTube and look up Chinese RVs after this. Maybe Manus just can't find anything. Because you should. Did I ever show you the video of the Chinese cars?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Just go to pick. Just play it. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, play
And the insulation is very good. And I made another things about these motorhomes. We replace about here with the carbon fibers.
Here?
Yes, with
the
the
inside.
Yes, this carb change to carbon fibers to reduce the weight. Yes, so this is whole thing made by carbon fibers. It can keep more stronger and keep more the weight looser.
Is carbon fiber?
Yes, I
stronger
think
than
it's
aluminum?
more important for these huge the motorhomes. So let's go to inside and see
Inside,
how
please.
different with the
I'm sure
others.
someone cares about the outside. I don't.
So come in.
First time in Europe.
Yes, first time in Europe.
Oh my goodness. Am I in a camper or in a motorhome? Or
Yes.
in a caravan? Sorry.
Yes.
It looks like caravan inside.
Yes, it looks like in caravan inside because
But it's not a caravan.
yes, it's a
Goodness.
motorhome.
I'm so surprised. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hold my
Yeah, it's
feelings.
nice. Let's skip it.
Yes.
I don't believe it.
Carbon fiber.
Yes, that's very special. That's
I don't know
special
if this is
design
what we
for
want. Let's go
only
to
for
Wanaka
two
and look at that.
peoples. Yes, you can see
Not
it's
this one, Jessica. Let's go to the Wanaka one. We're looking for something different. The top one in the document. The Wanaka BYD T5 DM hybrid. We gotta look for something different, Scott. I thought we were gonna get different stuff here because the cars are crazy different.
A button and double your living space. What if your motorhome had a roof that rises to reveal something unexpected? And what if there's a machine inside that you almost never see in other motorhomes? Something that completely changes how you travel? The Wanaka BYD T5DM Pro Max is already on the road in China, and once you see what it can do, you'll understand why it's turning heads. Let's take a look.
Motorhome luxury.
Priced at 438,000 Chinese yuan for the Pro version, approximately $63,000, and 468,000 Chinese yuan for the Pro Max. With the electric slide-out, approximately $67,000, the Wanaka BYD T5DM immediately makes a statement before you've even opened the door. Wanaka isn't some new startup either. They're a specialized flat-front motorhome brand with over 20 years of RV manufacturing experience. They took BYD's proven T5DM hybrid chassis. Yes, the same BYD that's now the world's largest EV manufacturer, larger than Tesla, and built something or fuel whatsoever. Now let's head back to the main entrance and step inside to see how Wanaka has maximized every
11
inch
minutes
of this compact
inside.
footprint.
We just skipped it.
Step inside the Wanaka BYD, and the first thing you notice is the ceiling height. At 6 feet 9 inches, there's no sense of claustrophobia. You can stand upright and move freely throughout the entire living area. The floor between the cab and living area is completely level, with no awkward step up or down. The overall living area measures 13 feet 3 inches long by 7 feet 2 inches wide, and that's before the slide-out extends. When the Pro Max's electric slide-out opens, that width increases by another 9 feet 2 inches, creating a genuinely spacious open-plan living space. Right above the entry door is the central control panel, one of the smartest features in this motorhome. Every system is controlled from a single location. The 4-way monitoring cameras, air conditioning, battery information display, water pump, and slide-out mechanism. No hunting around for individual switches. One panel controls everything. At the front above the cab is the first sleeping area. This bed measures 7 feet 3 inches long and 4 feet 5 inches wide, large enough for 2 adults. The headboard features recessed drawers, 2 outward opening windows for ventilation, built-in reading lights on both sides, USB charging ports, and 5-way power sockets.
So stop this.
A privacy curtain separates it.
My problem with all this that we've learned. Here's what I've learned, Scott. This is all about price and better materials. This is not about innovative, unique design.
Correct. I would agree 100% with that.
Okay. So then, is there room for innovative, unique design in the RV industry? And if there is, who does it?
Yeah, that's the question of the day. I don't know. Someone needs to, but what they're doing is it appears the Chinese manufacturers are essentially replicating the floor plans and designs of the US based RVs and just using different materials and charging a lot less.
Which is fine. I mean, I'm not disagreeing that that's a bad business strategy. It clearly
No, it's not overall, but it's not innovative. It's not really truly innovative.
All right. Well, we thought we were going to have more interesting RV videos to show you, but we don't. Haven't found any yet. I went and did
the retro RVs were more interesting.
Yeah, the retro RVs for sure. We're like, we should go back to that. I'm just scrolling through like on YouTube, and it's all the same. Yeah, it's like that the balcony one and the raised roof and the glass ceiling are interesting, right? Those are unique things that I think are pretty cool. But yeah, it looks like everything else is just the same stuff. So, are they currently allowed in the United States to be imported?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
They probably are, but like with gigantic tariffs.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to focus on 181 million people in the outdoor market?
Let's talk about it.
All right. You lead this one off because this is your data first.
Well, the 181 million is not my data.
Not your data, but you're right. Like, I'd like to hear the data perspective before we see the AI perspective.
But the whole idea of the number of participants in outdoor recreation is that it's essentially the goal of it is to count the number of participants and to count how they participate in the outdoors. And in doing so, you because of the scope of it, as you talked a little bit about earlier, like you don't truly know, what the kind of the true depth of their participation is. There's a lot of gaps, I would say, in the information, and there's a lot of assumptions made about what participation is and how it's defined. And so you have a figure that in all likelihood is probably fairly inflated, overall, because how someone defines what, and the example you gave earlier is true. It's like, how does someone define going hiking? Is that taking a walk in a city park? Is that, does that person define that as hiking? Is it hiking? We could debate a lot of this stuff over and over. We also don't get any real depth out of it. All we understand is we've counted heads. It's like a lot of departments of tourism in each state do this. They count heads. They count how many people came into our state from out of state last year to tour? And in most cases, it kind of ends there. All it does is it tells you counts. It tells you that base level of participation and not a whole lot more. So it's I think, as you said in your earlier in your comment, it's like it sounds really good in the marketing piece, or if you're talking to if you're a lobbyist and you're trying to get maybe a politician to vote on something that has to do with the outdoors. But beyond that, the utility of that information is probably minimal, really. Like, does it matter how many people went rock climbing last year? If you're a
Depends on who you are.
if you're a retailer who sells rock climbing gear,
That matters to you.
it matters in that the overall global size of your market. But if you don't dig into it more, you don't know what your true market is for your products.
True.
That's what we would call the gross market potential, but not the kind of the net market potential that's truly out there. Because again, I could say I went rock climbing last year because you can go to a rock gym. You're not buying any gear. You pay $20 to go climb a wall indoors, for an evening or something. So yeah, I went rock climbing. Or you could go with your friends, maybe one day give it a shot. But is that really your rock climbing market? It probably isn't. So in many respects, that one off, and the OIA readily admits that the majority of people are what they call casual participants. And we have the same situation in outdoor hospitality. We have a lot more people now who only take like one trip a year. And when just a few years ago, the fastest growing segment was people who took 3 or more trips a year. So
why do you think that's shifted? Because of the economy, or
it's that's part of it. But it's not the whole story. The reasons behind it are all those things. But what really has driven this is that we're not doing anything to address the leaky bucket. The fact that people try these things, and we as an industry aren't doing enough to keep them in. So
you mean the whole outdoor industry or the outdoor hospitality industry?
Both, all of it.
Okay.
It's people dabble, they'll go out and try something, but the churn is huge. It's when you look at like Gen Zers last year, we did with KOA. One of the studies we did was looking at the look ahead. I think we did this study in October, and it's public information. It's out there that you can see that I think it was close to 50% of Gen Zers who went camping in 2025 had no intention of going in 2026. I mean, that's a lot of churn. That's a lot of people who were like, "Meh, I'm not going to do it again." And
we just don't know why, other than like they had a bad experience, or they weren't welcomed enough, or we just guess, right?
They didn't attach to the experience for all those reasons. A lot of it has to do with their a lot of it is lack of knowledge of how to do it, where to go, what to do. Yeah. Some of it has to do with finances. Some of it has to do with their peer group. If their peer group doesn't camp, they're probably not going to camp. So it's kind of this spiral where they one of the reasons people end up going out camping is they go with their peer group the first time, or they go with their families the first time, but to continue they go with their peer group, with their friends. If their friends aren't going, if they're all kind of in the same situation, then their motivation to go is minimal. they're not going to continue, because as a group, they've all kind of made this unconscious decision that this isn't for me. And again, it's a group of people who were probably taken out with their parents a few times. Maybe they still go with their parents. There's a lot of Gen Zers who do still travel with their parents. So they're not developing those attachments to the experience. They're not doing the things that keep people coming back. Many of them, especially the group that they came out during COVID, whether it was them or their parents, they started during COVID in these mass numbers, but they didn't do it because they wanted an outdoor experience. They did it because it was the only thing they could do. They could travel, but they could camp. And so you had a lot of people who just weren't really attached to it. So essentially where we are now is we're pre-2019. And that's kind of what we're looking at, is we're Back to the Future. we're going back several years of this is how it was before. But our biggest issue is that the younger generation, and they're just not take, to use millennials as a comparison, they were very peer oriented. Their peer group went out. They were in big numbers, and they are still going out in big numbers. They're what's keeping us propped up right now. And they're very avid. They're the most avid group. They like doing a lot of different things. They spend a lot of money. It's a very solid core group of guests. But the Gen Zers are, again, they're just not into it, and we need to kind of change the dialogue, change the approach with them quite a bit. We've talked about it on this show quite a bit too. But again, these are the things that are driving this idea of the casual participant. The person, they don't buy gear either. If you want someone to continue to participate, they have to have some skin in the game. They need to have some gear. And,
like the rock climber you were talking about, who goes with their friends and borrows the rope and then doesn't come back because they don't have
they don't have the gear. Exactly.
Buy their own rope and buy their own carabiners, whatever, and everything else.
Once they do that, now you have them. Now they're part of a group that is, a good core set of participants. And like you were talking earlier about the guy Wes and what he wrote. It's like, someone will go in and buy a jacket, from a brand, but it doesn't mean that they're an outdoor participant. It just means that it looks cool.
It does literally. It literally means that. All right. Do you want to unpack this? Let's unpack this, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this, right?
Okay.
So share my screen, Jessica. 181 million participant myth, a deep dive into outdoor industry statistics. The Outdoor Industry Association recently reported that a record-breaking 181.1 million Americans, or 58.6% of the population age 6 and older, participated in outdoor recreation in 2024. This headline figure paints a picture of a booming industry where more than half the country is lacing up boots and hitting the trails. However, a closer examination of the methodology, frequency data, and consumer segmentation reveals a starkly different reality. The outdoor industry is experiencing a profound identity crisis, driven by a growing disconnect between the people buying outdoor branded gear and the people actually engaging in traditional skill-based outdoor pursuits like backcountry camping. The foundation of the 181 million figure rests on an extraordinarily broad definition of what constitutes an outdoor participant. According to the OIA's methodology, a participant is defined as any survey respondent who reported engaging in at least one of the 51 listed outdoor activities a single time during the calendar year.
Yep.
You want to stop here, or are you ready for it to get worse?
No, that's fine. That's exactly right. That's exactly what
you want to stop here. Is that what you're saying?
No, you can keep going.
Are you sure? Because it gets bad. All right. This low threshold means that an individual who went for a single 20-minute jog on a paved city path in July, or someone who set up a tent in their backyard for their children once in August, is counted with the same weight as a wilderness guide who spends 150 days a year in the backcountry. Furthermore, the survey includes activities that many would not traditionally associate with the outdoor industry, such as skateboarding, RV camping, and walking for fitness. Though walking is tracked separately from the core 51 activities, it heavily influences gateway behavior.
Yeah, some of those. I mean, I would quibble with them on RV camping, because the assumption there is that the person in the RV is not doing anything outdoors. It's like it's just their mode of travel.
Okay.
It's their accommodation. So, but with the other ones like the speed walking or whatever, walking for fitness, and the backyard thing. Like, for example, we define what camping is for people, and that wouldn't make the cut, by the way. We're very specific about how we define camping in our work. But yeah, there's 51 different items that someone could choose, and yes, the person who goes out like every day, is teaching the outdoors or whatever, is counted the same as someone who goes out one time and walks on a paved path to a waterfall for a quarter mile.
All right, so we have even more telling is the inclusion of activities like bird watching and wildlife viewing, which are counted as long as the participant is more than 1/4 mile from their vehicle or home. In 2023, 16.4 million people were counted as bird watchers and 21.1 million as wildlife viewers under this definition.
Yeah,
I don't know, Scott.
No, that's yeah. And again,
all due respect to our friend Greg, who used to be on the show, I don't feel like there's that many bird watchers.
Well, there's a lot of people who do it. They aren't really bird watchers, but they say that they do it. But that is, again, it is one of the issues with this, because in my opinion, I would start subdividing outdoor recreation into different categories. And if people insist on using some of those, I would place those in the kind of quote more sedentary types of participation. They're not they're not, it's a little, it's loose and it's a little weak overall. Yeah. But therein lies, it's difficult. You can see again the difficulty in doing this kind of work, because it didn't used to be that many. So over time, participation is going to organically increase if you just keep adding categories to it.
How many campers are there? People who go camping. What's your number?
It's like 56 million.
Should we challenge that next?
Go ahead.
AI chose to. The illusion of 56 million campers. When analyzing specific activities, the gap between the headline numbers and traditional outdoor participants becomes glaringly apparent. The OIA frequently cites that roughly 56 million Americans went camping. However, this aggregate number lumps together entirely different consumer behaviors. Car and backyard camping. The vast majority of this group, roughly 38.6 million in 2023, falls into the camping, car, backyard, and RV category. RV camping is another 16.5 million participants that are RV campers, and backpacking overnight, the actual number of Americans who engage in overnight wilderness backpacking, the activity most closely associated with the heritage outdoor industry, is only 10 million. Crucially, while the overall camping category is growing, overnight backpacking is actually declining. Between 2020 and 2023, the number of overnight backpackers fell from 10.7 million to 10 million, a 7% decrease over 3 years. Backpackers make up just 5.5% of the 181 million total participants. A similar trend is visible in hiking. The OIA reports 63.4 million day hikers, making it the most popular outdoor activity. Yet 73.8% of those hikers, roughly 46.8 million people, are classified as casual, meaning they hiked fewer than 13 times in the entire year. And again, hiked, what does hiked mean?
Right. There's a missing context. Again, backyard camping, We don't include that. Car camping, it's not a whole lot different from RV. RV camping, I think, still belongs. So, because
it is an interesting question, though.
But because what you're doing is you're making the assumption that again, someone who stays in an RV, that is, why isn't that an outdoor activity?
Well, okay, so I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying, but you then are making the assumption that it is, and they're not just using it as their mode of transportation and then going to a museum or something else, right?
Well, the reason that I view it that way is because we used research to develop our definition of camping.
Like I agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate, right?
No, I know, but
Yeah.
we researched it, 15 years ago, and we made a composite definition of it based on. So yeah, backyard camping doesn't make it. Car camping, we could talk about that a little bit more. Are you living in your car or are you camping in it? What's the difference between that and an RV? You can start to split hairs. I like backpacking, by the way. It's one of my favorite ways to camp. But yeah, it is declining, unfortunately, but it is the most hardcore way to camp. And there is a difference between someone who goes out backpacking and someone who goes out in a Class A motorhome.
For sure. The plunge in frequency, perhaps most alarming statistic, is buried in the OIA report is the precipitous drop in the frequency of outings. While the industry added 27.5 million new participants since 2019, I guess people who walk, the average number of, that's probably unfair, but the average number of outings per participant has plummeted. In 2012, the average outdoor participant went on 87.4 outings per year. By 2024, that number had fallen by 25% to just 65.2 outings per year. The data shows that the only frequency categories experiencing growth are the lowest ones, 1 to 23 outings per year. Meanwhile, the most dedicated categories, those participating 52 to 260 plus times a year, are all shrinking. This trend is particularly pronounced among youth. While there are a record 36.9 million juvenile participants, their average outings per year have dropped from 90.9 in 2012 to 67.9 in 2024. The industry is succeeding in getting more people to try an activity once or twice, but it is failing to convert them into dedicated habitual users. As the OIA itself notes, currently very few participants who are new to outdoor recreation are converted to core participants, which you've said many times before, yeah? The outside economy versus the outdoor economy. To understand why the industry is promoting the $181 million number, despite the decline in core participation, one must look at the retail landscape. Industry analyst Wes Allen, look, it's Wes Allen. He's our buddy. He's our new friend. He's cited in here, proposes a critical framework, the distinction between the outside economy and outdoor economy. The outside economy is aesthetic-driven and frequency-light. It consists of consumers who buy Vuori joggers for the coffee shop, Blundstone boots for the office, and Patagonia fleeces for the brewery. These consumers value comfort, versatility, and the vibe of outdoor culture, but they do not participate in technical outdoor activities with any regularity. According to Switchback Consumer Research, these casual and active consumers account for more than 90% of all dollars spent on outdoor apparel and gear. The outdoor economy, conversely, is activity-driven. It consists of the core consumers, roughly 5% of the market, who engage in forward-moving, muscle-powered pursuits. They buy gear based on technical need because their safety and comfort in the backcountry depend on it. Heritage outdoor brands like Patagonia, North Face, and REI built their reputations on the outdoor economy, but they fueled their massive financial growth by selling to the outside economy. For years, they had a monopoly on the outdoor aesthetic. Now, however, brands purpose-built for the outside economy, like On Running, Hoka, and Vuori, are capturing that massive casual market. I want to say one thing. I have a pair of Hoka shoes, and they're really nice shoes, man. They're waterproof, and I bought them only because they're like super high, because I can wade through puddles. They're like 7-inch, right? Anyway, just saying.
Practical. They're practical.
Well, but I also wade through rivers with them, man. So, like, just to be clear, right? Anyway, this dynamic explains why REI reported a 6.2% decrease in revenue, 3.53 billion in 2024, and has struggled to turn a profit, even as the OIA trumpets record-breaking participation numbers. The 181 million participants exist, but the vast majority of them are walking in city parks in athleisure wear, not buying $300 mountaineering boots or $400 technical backpacks. The $181 million participant figure is not necessarily a lie, but it is a masterful piece of marketing that conflates casual lifestyle behavior with dedicated outdoor recreation. By setting the barrier to entry at a single outing per year and including activities like backyard camping and fitness walking, the industry can claim massive relevance. However, the reality is that the true core of the outdoor industry, the backcountry campers, the frequent hikers, the alpine climbers, is a small, shrinking minority of roughly 10 to 15 million people. The modern outdoor industry is no longer in the business of outfitting wilderness expeditions. It's primarily in the business of selling the idea of the outdoors to a largely urban and suburban population seeking comfort and casual recreation. Which, to my point on MC Fireside Chats earlier, is the reason somebody needs to build luxury outdoor resorts. For the people who want to be outdoors. For the outside camper and not the outdoor camper.
Yeah, because that is the appeal. It's the person who's not an outdoors person. They're just not outdoorsy. It's the resort stayer. It's the cruise participant. It's that leisure traveler profile that's attracted to that. And it really should be separated. I've been jumping on this bandwagon for a while that the idea and the reason that we're seeing some of these drops or flatness in participation is because we've as an industry we have lost sight of what it is that we're all about and what the outdoors really consists of. That I keep saying this, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, that it's this sanitized version of the outdoors, which is that outside thing that you were just talking about.
I'm going to push back and I'm going to play devil's advocate. This is not what I believe. Aren't most private campgrounds a sanitized version of the outdoors?
Most, I would say no, really.
Okay, why? I do not believe this. I'm just playing devil's advocate because to me, let's call it typical KOA is a sanitized version of the outdoors.
It is more sanitized. I will grant that, but still the idea behind it is you still spend the vast majority of your time outside.
Outside or outdoors?
We'll say outdoors. I'll say outdoors. You do spend most of your time outdoors. The experience is designed around spending your time outdoors.
What is your difference then? What is your definition of outside versus outdoors in a campground?
Outside would be you stay at a campground, but you spend most of your time within your accommodation or like in the clubhouse or lodge or something like that.
Or sitting outside on your patio?
I would almost say that I would lean into that being outside and not outdoors.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. Outside, but not
either
outdoors.
way on it, but I lean toward it being outside, not outdoors.
So then what do they do at a typical, let's call it mid-scale luxury RV resort that is outdoors?
They may have outdoor activities, maybe kayaking or canoeing.
Okay.
They may have hiking adjacent stuff.
Agree.
Cornhole.
But now I'm asking you a specific question though. This is the reason I framed it this way. The mid-scale to luxury RV resorts. Like many of those, some of them do. Many of them don't have the amenities that you're just talking about, kayaking and all that kind of stuff. They have waterfront access, but that's so. Again, I'm not saying that this is my position. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, I get what you're saying, and it's essentially the same as do you rent a cabana on a beach, and then you're going out and hanging out on the beach all day. Is that outdoors? Are you having an outdoors experience by doing that? Um, I would, I mean, to me, one of the ways I would differentiate it is, where do you spend the majority of your time? What percentage of your time is spent in the outdoors, in nature and nature-based activities?
I think I like the quarter mile away from your house definition of just that piece of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with the 51 activities, but I agree like that to me is outside versus outdoors could qualify as a quarter mile away. So then maybe you have some kind of similar aspect of, are you X feet or meters away from your RV, and then you're outdoors and you're participating in an outdoor activity versus an outside activity.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a huge amount of space for some nuance in this measurement, because now what you can start doing is really getting at who is an outdoor participant versus, for example, the RVer who doesn't really do anything, who stays in their RV most of the time. There's a lot of people that do that. That maybe they just sit on their patio and, as I said earlier, drink gin and tonics and play cards, and then pack up and leave and go somewhere else the next day. Maybe you get a lot of your long-term stayers at campgrounds that are probably not really outdoors. So I think there's a way to do that, and there's a way to slice and dice that a little bit better to start getting more at the core of what it is we're trying to do and what we're trying to define. Like, who is that outdoor participant? We've in recent years, we've done a decent job of trying to capture a lot of that information, but we still have quite a ways to go. OIA has been doing it the same way for ever since I can remember, and there's they're yeah, I don't want to go down that road, but
I think there's ways we can extract this data from the camper. Through questions or through surveys or through like people who are coming to our RV parks, which is not, again, we're not going to produce data on the outdoor industry, right? But on the specific profiles of types of people who are coming to RV parks, RV resorts, campgrounds, glamping resorts, we should be able to, either through incentive or discounts or personalization or some way, get these people to fill out a little bit of information. If it's an extra 2 or 3 questions during the booking process, if it's a post-booking survey that says, I want to personalize your stay, there's got to be a way to gather more of this data. I don't think we ask enough of the right questions.
Well, it's interesting that we're talking about this because I actually have a set of measurements that address this. It's not perfect yet. I haven't done enough testing on it yet, but it's basically formed around the depth of nature exposure, and so it's it takes into account things like what's the setting of where they stay. Like, is it a town? Is it rural or is it remote? Is proportion of time in natural areas versus built spaces? Are the immersion? Are they immersed in nature, away from noise and artificial light, clear night sky, or mostly near structures and time on screens, etc.? Activity mix, count of nature forward activities, like hiking, paddling, stargazing, skills and stuff, versus built activities. So it's not perfect, obviously. It's just my first stab at it, but to me, it's the kind of thing that will allow you to do this at a different level, allow you to say, what's the level of kind of overall outdoor immersion and exposure, and we can scale that, because like everything, it's not black and white necessarily, but it will essentially eliminate those very casual people. They'll essentially be like so far down on the scale that they're not really going to register. And when we say, here are the active participants, here are the people that, here's the kind of the core participant or whatever, it's going to give you a much better idea of that.
I think what this is telling me, this whole conversation, is that we really need desperately some fucking data. And we don't have it in our industry.
We do. We need more. It needs to be expanded. It needs to really be dug into a lot more. There's a huge amount of opportunity to do some actually really cool measurement stuff. Like I said, that what I just read to you, that was kind of off the top of my head that I wrote down based on thinking about this, because in conjunction with some other stuff that I'm working on. So it's it would be a great way to I think it's like what we were talking on text earlier too, about taking research that people do and not replicating it, but building on it, finding the gaps in it and figuring out what else to do. If OIA wants to measure participants at the level they're doing, that's great. What we're going to do is take that to the next level. We're going to take it to the next step and build on it.
This is interesting. Yeah, I want to stick around for 2 seconds after the show ends. I'm going to tell you what we're going to work on. I don't want to say it publicly yet.
Okay.
I'm going to play the outro, but we're almost done anyway. Any final thoughts on what we've talked about?
Just that this idea of measurement. I mean, again, you and I have had a lot of conversations about this, and it's something that I'm trying to build up in terms of validity of measurement, of getting at some of these issues in greater detail, but also being able to provide that level of information to people in the industry so that there's a better understanding of what's going on out there, because there's a lot of people wringing their hands about it, and I feel like it's our job. It's our job to do this. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna push it forward.
Yeah, I think the data is the answer. You're doing obviously great work that you've always done, and excited to see the new fields you push into. We're doing kind of the yin to your yang, if that makes sense. I think tracking the actual, I don't want to say actual data, but what do you use? The two ways you describe us differently. You do the surveys, but you put a nice name to it.
It's more it's attitudinal, and you actually have behavioral.
Okay.
Yours is actual objective information. That's objective. It's like it's actual. It's what happened. What I do is I go out and I get a snapshot in time of what's going on and what people think, and then what they say they're doing, what they want to do. So
the real question is, how do we get owners to actually pay attention to this? I'm not asking to answer that question in 2 minutes, but
we're just going to keep hammering it. We're going to keep hammering it.
All right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Outwired. Appreciate you. We will see you next week for, I don't know, when we talk about something that may or may not have good YouTube videos. We'll find out. See you later, guys. Thanks. Peace.